Welcome back to Afternoon Live. One of the key factors in a rewarding relationship is trust, but trust doesn't always come easily. Here to share how to grow closer to those around you, we welcome back the author of the book, Insight into a Bright Mind, neuroscientist Dr. Nicole Tetreault. Great to see you.
Great to see you, Hannah.
So let's dive in. Trust is important in all relationships, just kind of in different ways in different parts of our life.
Exactly. We need to feel that sense of safety and security to be who we are and to communicate appropriately. And when we have trust, we know that we can have faith and confidence in the experience we're having with other people.
And it's dynamic kind of depending on the situation too. Obviously you don't trust a family member the same way you would trust maybe a work colleague.
Correct. I mean, trust is built over time. And so obviously when you're born into a family, you're raised in a certain way. And there's the nurturing aspect that builds in those relationships for trust. As a work colleague, you're in a situation where over time you learn to connect with people and build trust in that circumstance and in that relationship.
So walk us through some of the principles of trust, things that we can kind of hone in on to understand a little bit better.
Well, thinking about it, when you trust somebody, inside you feel open, you feel confident, you feel these things where you don't have to shut down. And all of a sudden you have a relationship that's really based on humanity and capability and ways that have true, authentic connection.
And there's also, the neurochemistry behind it all, which you can explain too, the different things that are transmitting in our brains when we're building and developing trust.
So you were asking about developmental, like in our families, how we develop these bonds. And the first type of neurochemical that we have when we're born and we have that pair bonding with our parent is called oxytocin. And that is that rewarding feeling where you're in love, like it's that neurochemical of love. And that happens with pair bonding when you find a partner. And then when you have serotonin, that's kind of more developmental. And serotonin, again, is that feel-good hormone that you have when you're in a relationship and you can trust each other. And then from there, there's also dopamine, which is a shorter term type of thing, but it lasts throughout our life, where dopamine, you get these splurts of having a rush of basically connection, and you get that reward in your relationship.
And all of those can be interconnected, but it's interesting to hear you explain them all, because I think a lot of us use those terms maybe interchangeably, but they don't all necessarily mean the same thing.
Well, when we think about how the neurochemicals really relate, it's in relation to the experience. So even when we're thinking developmentally, there's these parts in our mind, in our brains, that have critical periods. And so, for example, like serotonin is something that the kind of windows for social connection close a little bit, where dopamine is something that we get that's rewarding all throughout our life. And that's how, when you're even thinking about like social media, how these neurochemicals play in relation to relationships and the release of these neurotransmitters when you're getting likes and things like that.
Oh yeah, that's so interesting. Okay, so you have some ideas to develop trust if you're sort of looking to maybe build or rebuild maybe broken trust as well.
Ways that you can really do that. We know that there's certain meditation practices, for example, the loving kindness meditation or the metta meditation, where you wish others well wishes. That kind of practice increases those positive neurochemicals, but not only, they found in people who practice it for up to a month, you can feel and experience other people's emotions. And this really builds that muscle of theory of mind. So you have empathy and you can begin to see perspectives of others. Sometimes when you have broken trust, it's a misalignment in communication where you feel the other person may not perceive what you're saying and you may be misinforming them, or vice versa. And so this allows you to kind of be able to communicate where you can know that the other person is trustworthy based on communication of looking into their eyes is another way. We know eye gazing is a way that you can build trust. And the other things that you could do are simple, like trust building exercises, like working on a difficult problem together, or simply, practicing, going around your house and blindfolding somebody and seeing how you can walk around the room and trust somebody else. There's also things like trust falls and things like that.
Yeah, some of those silly things that we did at summer camp really do have some practical purpose to them.
Exactly, and there are ways to distract your kids and yourself.
So fun. Hey, thank you so much. It was great to see you.
Great to see you. Have a great weekend.
You too. Nicole's book again is Insight into a Bright Mind, and we'll have more information on our website at katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.